Look at that. You're such an astronaut. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
We are here at
NASA.
NASA.
It says that somewhere back there. Oh, wow, it's bright.
But we're spending the whole day today at the Kennedy Space Center over here in Florida, and we can't wait. I think we're doing a tour of the control center, which I can't wait to check out. I'm really excited about that. Hopefully you can hear us okay. I'm using my phone this whole time, so we'll see. Look at that. There's some fuel tanks over there with some boosters. Walking into the place. We're gonna go exploring, as you can tell. There's some rockets in the background. Look at all those rockets. Looks like they're all older rockets that were used prior to the space shuttle, from what I can see. So cool. Look at the blue sky in the background. This nice rocket garden.
So,
you thought the Southwest flight was cramped.
yeah, the Gordon Cooper, he says it's like sitting in a small bathtub. Let's see.
So she's gonna go try this out. You have plenty of space in there. No pun intended.
I'm too tall. My head doesn't fit. I have to sit in a sit-up position. Oh, good. Our oxygen levels are below 50%.
How's it feel, astronaut?
Tiny. My head doesn't fit.
You're just a little girl.
I know.
Try 2 days in there.
Those astronauts must have been pretty tiny. Oh, so you get really lonesome, probably.
Alright, we're gonna go on a mission. We're going on the space shuttle. Ready to go to space?
Ready to go.
Oh wow. Can I have the window seat? Wow, look at that.
The one in LA that we went to.
Look at that. We are getting ready to go see the Atlantis space shuttle. And those are just the rocket, the fuel tank with the boosters on the side. Look how massive that is. There's Aaron right there. And then there are the big rockets. And of course they have very inspiring music to go in the background. Yeah, so that's pretty big. Pretty massive. And we are just touching it right there. Look at
Beat you to it. Wowee, it's so big.
Look at that. Oh my gosh. That is huge.
Up and up and up and up. So you want to be an astronaut now, right, Eric? You get to be way at the top of that.
I can't even go up a flight of stairs. I can't go up there. Wow. There it is, the Atlantis. Wow, that's pretty cool. They had a really cool video right before this, and it opened up to the nose cannon from right there. And it opened up to that. That is so cool. Get up close and personal. Atlantis. See those tiles?
You know what would be
You can
cool?
see that some of them are like re-entry, burned off some of that. And you can go into the rescue pod right there, and the bay doors are open.
That's really neat.
What do you think?
It's pretty cool. You know, it would have been really strange but cool at the same time. When they were in space, they found the city of Atlantis using the Atlantis space shuttle. Just kidding.
So this is where they kept satellites and stuff, and there's the big arm that pulled out. space there, and at the end we'll hold on to stuff. Things, stuff, you know. Looks like they have cameras, all sorts of things, so they can probably look while they're inside to see what they're doing.
I'm the height of one of these.
Wow. Look how big those engines are.
How many missions did it do? Or missions? I don't even know if I'm using these words
This
right.
space shuttle has over 2.5 million parts to it. So cool.
26 years, 33 missions, 207 astronauts, 126 million miles flown, 307 days in space.
Wow.
The last mission was in 2011.
I guess they accomplished their tasks of reusing it if they've been 307 days in space.
That's so great because they're able to reuse a lot of that really expensive stuff to save money, but I mean also just like what do you do with it? If you can't reuse all these things, like there's only so many NASA museums you can build with old stuff.
You can build more.
Is it a gas pedal like driving your car?
Yeah, the clutch is over here. Cool. I hope this thing has GPS on it. She's walking into space.
Detach the panel. Then grab the panel with both arms while the canadarms loosen. Lastly, spread your arms and release the panel into space.
Where's my hammer?
Oh gosh.
I only get one hand to do this?
Grab it. Oh, you missed it.
Oh my
You're gonna
goodness,
float
this
into
is big
space.
gravity. How do I do this?
Hit the solar panel a few times with the hammer.
Your other hand. Use that hammer.
Loosen the... Let's raise one hand. What? How?
Hit it again.
Almost there. One more.
Whoa.
Oh, good work.
Keep holding on. Hold on for dear life.
Almost there.
Don't let go! I don't know what I'm doing. I think
Spread your arms to release the panel.
Whoa, look at it. Ah,
Am I
goodbye.
floating in space now?
It's now space junk.
Great. Let's let our space since we
Great
can't
job.
let
I'm
our
gonna give you 1,000. Look at it. Look at there you are. Look at that. You're such an astronaut.
Look, I got 100% in 2 of the 3 categories and 85% in grasping.
This is the Hubble Space Telescope, or at least like the old version of it. So cool. Astronaut guy floating into space. This is the underbelly of the shuttle. Look at all those tiles. There are, how many tiles are on this thing?
Is that over
20,000 tiles.
Taking a tour. We're gonna go look at some different launch pads, and we're gonna go to a control
We are a
room.
wildlife just to the left of that palm tree.
Alligator.
It's like gator.
Snap, snap.
You want to look at the tree behind the pole, you'll see that bald eagle's nest.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
That's the biggest bald eagle's nest I've ever seen. They don't make them that build on the
And they
West
come
Coast.
down, Launch Control Center, that's where we're headed. And this is the most secured building out here on the property. We have to go through a gate to get inside.
This is what they used in the early days of the shuttle, as well as all the Apollo launches. That's what they would do, activate a noise out there. And they would have, they would play recordings of clocks. That would scare most of the birds away. When they had a shuttle out on the pad, they had a balloon with faces on it. But the ones that would not scare away would be the vultures. So they had to have someone sitting out there with an air horn, so when a vulture came by, they could try to keep it away. They brought anyone down to watch a launch, like a president or a vice president. They would have watched from here. No one was allowed in the firing room unless they were part of the team. So we had tables and chairs in here. This is where they would have watched. The first movement you have in the vehicle assembly building till you have it hard down in the launch pad. It would take 6 hours to move it to pad A, and it would take 8 hours to move it to pad B. So that'd be a board like watching paint dry. The launcher valve. To the right of those, that tall white building you see, that's Complex 41. That starts the Air Force side. We have an Atlas V rocket inside that building. And about 2 days prior to launch, they'll roll it out to the launch pad, which is in the center of the 4 lightning towers. The launch director's office, and he can open those blinds and have a great view, see the shuttles out on the launch pad. So you can walk up to the one if you want. I'm going to tell you about what you're looking at inside. On the very top, we have a poster for each one of the vehicles. And in order flown, Columbia, Challenger, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavour was built to replace Challenger after it was lost. When they found out the shuttle program would be retired, the launch director, Mike Linebaugh, wanted to do something to show all the missions for each of those vehicles. So they divided into groups and designed the posters. Anyone that worked as part of the launch team will tell you the most important item in that room was the countdown clock. They looked so calm during the launch time that I'm certain there was quite a bit of tension in the room. And just like if we were going somewhere for a job interview and we were worried about time, we keep looking at the time. They do the same. They did the same in here. It took about 72 hours to launch a shuttle. In this room, we would have had, for these launches, this would have been the primary launch team. We would have had 200 people in here. Down the hall in firing room 2 would have been another 200 people. And then outside of this building, some here on the property, some at other NASA centers, would have been an additional 100 people. So I tell people it took 3 days and 500 people to launch a shuttle, but really the 300 extra, that was in case you ran into any problems. They were there to help resolve the problems and try to launch on time. But really all the main work was being done by the 200 people in this room. The white suits were for those.
Can you see? Is it finished?
Yeah.
Give them a chance to take two.
Yeah, when they do the trade.
So what you'll see the platform, which weighs 9 million pounds, sitting atop a crawler transporter that weighs 6 million pounds. So 15 million pounds parked up here. When we come around and you look at the front of the crawler, you'll see a driver cab on the left, on the corner, and then diagonally across is a second cab. You always have to move forward. You cannot put this in reverse. That's why we have the 2 driver cabs. We have a lot going on here. I did want to point out too, off to the right, we can see the pre-launch pads down on the Air Force side. This platform has 3 openings. You can see one up front here. You can see a second one in the center here. Once they moved the platform and the vehicle, let's say they were moving a shuttle, once they moved it out to the pad and put that platform up on pedestals, then they would drive the crawler back and park it here. It never stayed out at the launch pad. Structure just like the one over on pad A. And those are the side panel blast deflectors you see off to the right. They're from pad A, and they're made of steel and refractory concrete. And they would have set up on top on either side of the flame trench. The main one is still over there at pad A. We're going to come back the same way. When it cools off, we'll start to see alligators out here. In this pond, we've seen as many as 10 at a time. There's some big alligators out there. People, anybody that worked here, if we were launching from Pad A, even the people over here at Pad B, everyone had to leave and return to the VAB. Could not be out here for launches. So NASA would have had cameras completely circling the pad so they could watch everything that went on. We had cameras in other locations. After launch, there's a room over in the VAB that has a large screen, and all of the launch people would gather over there and replay the video.
So we are here
at the Atlantic Ocean. We made it to the other side of the United States. From sea to shining sea.
Yes.
Down the right, there's Pad B, and it has the 3 lightning rods. And then if you look to the left, Pad A, which is where SpaceX is renting right now. But so that's where most of the historically cool launches have been, and the first and last launch by NASA and all the moonwalkers where their shuttles were launched from.
So those are all the Apollo programs. You can see in the back, that's the Pad A, and all of these programs were launched from there. So you can see the Apollo on the left, the Space Shuttle on the right.
So if you look at in comparison, the Space Shuttle is something that they can reuse and probably takes less money as far as them having to, you know, refurbish things. So it's amazing once you have something that's reusable, how much more accessible getting to space is and more trips.
This is what started the moon program. We were to have had 3 additional moon landings. That's why we have a Saturn V left over that you're able to see when you go inside, again, taking almost the entire length of the building.
There's the Saturn V. Look at those engines. So there is the kid, and there are the engines. We were just talking about, just think how much fuel has to be used for that. It's so crazy. So you can see the 3 stages. They're labeled there, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. And so each time a different part of that would fall off as it went further up into the air. But you can see, just, I'm blown away by how huge this thing is. Pretty cool.
We're gonna touch a rock that came from the moon. It's like I'm touching the moon, according to this exhibit.
And Kodak shooting stars are closing in approximately 10 minutes. If you would like to join us, please do so at this time.
It doesn't look
Once
like
again,
anything
Mulan
special.
Cafe and
That's
Kodak
real.
shooting stars are closing in 10 minutes. Thank you.
This is the firing room, launch control for the Apollo missions. This is not a mock-up. These are the very consoles we sat in when men first took off to fly to the moon. The tragedy of Apollo 1 had put us a year and a half behind. We were making up for it in one big leap, and we were doing it with a rocket that no man had ever flown before. It was a few days before Christmas 1968 when Apollo 8 sat on the pad. She was the first of a new kind, a moon rocket. This was the Phoenix, risen from the ashes of Apollo 1. The first Apollo crew did not die in vain. This was to be their testament. "36 stories high, she had been fully fueled throughout the night. The liquid oxygen in her tanks caused ice to form on the outside of the craft. The extreme temperature differences between the air and the sub-zero fuel caused the metal skin of the rocket to expand and contract. Everyone who was on the pad agreed. It was astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders had made their final preparations before taking that long ride out to the waiting spacecraft. The minimum safe distance from Saturn V at liftoff was 3 miles. The reason was simple. When fully fueled, the rocket contained the explosive power of an atomic bomb. As the clock counted down, the astronauts and all of us in launch control went through the pre-flight checks. Our hands on the controls of the most powerful, most complex machine ever built. It had over 2 million separate systems, and to bring these men back alive, everything had to work perfectly. Each individual system had been tested, but what we didn't know was how they would perform when all 2 million began to work together. That moment would come when the countdown clock reached 0. If a maneuvering thruster failed, if communications broke down, if navigation was off by 1 degree, if any piece of the miles of wiring, circuits, relays, or valves was defective, Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders would pay with their lives. As they sat waiting for launch on that chill December morning, these 3 astronauts went back to what they had always been, test pilots. You are now in the final minutes before the launch of Apollo 8, right here where it actually happened. Mankind is about to leave his planet behind and journey to another. It is one of those rare moments when history is not being made, destiny is being embraced.
This is launch control. T-minus 3 minutes and counting. We've completed our communications checks with the Apollo 8 astronauts in the cabin, and the communications are go. During this period, once we do get the final command, the various tanks within the 3 stages of the Saturn V launch vehicle begin to pressurize. We have final command. The final command is in. We are now on the operating sequence. T-minus 2 minutes, 20 seconds to countdown. Our status board indicates that all aspects are ready. Instrument motor is ready, spacecraft ready. Final check of the emergency detection system. That ready, like also first stage preparations are completed.
All systems are okay.
Okay, keep going. We're on. Ready to go to cockpit. Stand by, water. Okay, you're on.
All systems go.
T-minus 45 seconds and counting. First stage, the oxygen tank has been pressurized, and the pressure is still building up. Coming up in 90 seconds, mark T-minus 90 seconds and coming. The Apollo 8 crew standing by, spacecraft commander Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, Bill Anders. We now report that the liquid hydrogen tank in the first stage is pressurized. 1 minute 15 seconds. All third stage propellants pressurized at this time as we come up on the 60-second mark on the flight to the moon. 60 seconds and counting. The vehicle now is completely pressurized. We're coming up on a power transfer shortly. We have the power transfer. We're now on the flight batteries to the launch vehicle. Final reports from Frank Borman at this time. Final look at the switches of the spacecraft. 20 seconds on our test. We are still in roll at this time. 15 minutes, 15, 14, 12, 11, 10, 9, sequence stop. Engines are on. 4.
Apollo 8 successfully orbited the moon, and the astronauts returned safely to the Earth. I know. I'm Jim Lovell, and I was one of the crew of this spacecraft, Apollo 8. We were the first men to see the surface of the moon from just a few miles away. But it was the hundreds of thousands of men and women who worked in our team, and the millions of people who supported the mission that really made it possible. That way, I guess, we all went to the moon.
We are done at NASA. It was awesome.
We left just as a big thunder and lightning storm was coming, but we got to the airport, met up with my brother and his friend Keelan, and then we boarded the, what is it? The Disney Magic Express something.
You can see it behind us.
Yeah.
Oh.
But so it picks you up at the airport and then takes you to the resort that you are staying at. So we are at the Disney, what is it? The Disney Music Resort. We're gonna go up to our rooms, then we're gonna go get some dinner and go to bed.
Okay.
Good night.
We'll see you tomorrow.